Hi everyone, and welcome back to another Intentional Tech video. Usually I sit here and tell you what I think about technology, but today we're going to flip that on its head because I've been polling you questions over on the community tab of my YouTube channel and getting some fascinating results back. So I just want to reflect on them and kind of respond to what you've been telling me about technology. We're going to start with the most popular question I asked, and that was, who makes the best tech? And for this, I gave you 5 answers that you could choose from. So that was Apple, Samsung, Microsoft, Sony, and Elgato. And you might not be surprised to know that Apple came out on top with 52% of the vote, and Samsung came in second place on 35%. I do just want to say that all of these companies make brilliant tech in their own way, but it doesn't surprise me that Apple came out on top because we do cover it more than other brands on this channel. When you think about brands like Apple and Samsung, they're making really high quality products like phones and tablets that have exceptionally broad appeal, and they're probably brands that we interact with on pretty much a daily basis. That's before you even get into what an amazing year that Apple has had with its new line of MacBooks, its new M1 chips. Although I don't use a Samsung phone, I do have a lot of Samsung tech around the house. So for example, my TV is Samsung and it's been a brilliant TV for at least 5 or 6 years now. We've also got a Samsung washing machine, so I can vouch for Samsung in my own way, but I will always personally default to Apple devices. I think it's really interesting that Sony and Microsoft got such a similar vote share, with Sony just shading it on 9% of the vote and Microsoft on 4%, because both of them are playing in the same space in terms of consoles and gaming at the moment, and both of them had brilliant years. You know, the PlayStation 5, the Xbox Series S and X are both incredible pieces of tech in their own right and give a slightly different approach on, you know, what makes a good home console. But if you think about it, Microsoft extends out into personal computing where it doesn't quite compete with Apple, and Sony then extends out into things like cameras and TVs where it is brilliant in its own right, but maybe not what people think about automatically when you ask them about tech. I do just want to give a quick shout out to Elgato because although they got 0 votes in this poll, they are a much more niche company than who they were up against. So lighting my face at the moment, we've got an Elgato Keylight Air, and that's an Elgato light strip behind me too. And then over on my desk, I've got an Elgato microphone and a Stream Deck, which have just made my home office environment just an amazing place to work. So I would really encourage people to look outside of those big brands because sometimes there are amazing products that you might be missing. Now, speaking of home offices, I also asked you which home office tech you'd be upgrading in 2022, and the results to this poll were really interesting. Much to my surprise, the winner of this was actually your monitor with 44% of the votes, and then it was a pretty even split for everything else. So there were 11% of people said they were getting a computer, a keyboard, or a chair. And then other people, 22% of you said that you were getting something else. And what came up in the comments there was definitely a standing desk, which seems to be something that people are really interested in and something that I would also really love. But you know, happy enough with my desk at the moment. Now, sample sizes aside, I do think it's really interesting that people were looking for a new monitor, whether that's to do with the fact that, you know, these new consoles are all coming out and people want to upgrade their setups. Maybe it's just more difficult to upgrade computers at the moment, whether you've just got a new sort of M1 device from the past year or so, or you're looking to update your, you know, gaming PC and struggling to find parts because of the chip shortage. When it comes to what you actually want to work on, 67% of people said they'd prefer to work on a desktop, and 33% said that they would prefer to work on a laptop. Now, that again is quite interesting to me because I always assume that laptops are the kind of go-to device that most people want to use. It could just be that we've got a lot of Mac Mini fans here on the channel, myself included. But yeah, definitely an interesting one, and nobody said they would prefer to work on tablet or phone, and yeah, I completely get that. I don't know if you saw my video about actually having to work on my iPad for 3 weeks over the summer. It was actually a lot more difficult than it sounds, and you know, I don't think anyone wants to work on a phone, even though I do think that there are elements of the future workforce which will just work on phones all the time and already are. In terms of where you want to work though, this is obviously something that a lot of people and companies are asking themselves at the moment. So I asked you whether you wanted to work remotely, go into the office, or have a mix of both. Again, very interestingly, 57% of people said they actually wanted a mix of both. 36% said they'd like to work remotely, and only 7% of people wanted to go into the office. I definitely fall into the work remotely, have a slight mix of both camp. I think whenever you say that you want to work remotely, people just assume it's because, you know, you're a bit of a hermit and you don't like speaking to people, and that's just like not the case at all for me. I'm actually a really social person, but I actually think that if I can save an hour or two of my commute every day, and if I can, you know, be at home to take care of the laundry over lunch, then I can spend more of my time actually seeing people, like my family and my friends, after work. I think that a lot of people have kind of conflated working from home and lockdown, and you know, obviously the experience of lockdown has not been great, but I'm sure once we get past this pandemic and we start to see people moving into cafes to do their work, working at a friend's house, and you know, kind of embracing their community after work, then it will just be such a better experience to work from home. So I can see why people want to go in every now and again, but I do think that more and more of those opportunities are going to be opening up in, you know, the local environments that people just sort of live in. And another note on productivity: what kind of music do you listen to while you're at work or studying? This was a really interesting one, and it was very evenly split. So we had 27% of people who said they'd listen to lo-fi beats, 27% of people who listen to classical music, 18% who listen to favourite songs, 9% who listen to post-rock, and 18% who listen to other music entirely. It's really interesting because I can't listen to my favourite songs when I'm at work because the lyrics really distract me, and I found that over the past year or two, definitely the past 2 years, I've kind of like stopped listening to music where I can actually understand the lyrics because of being at home so much, and either like working on, you know, my actual job, my YouTube channel, writing. I don't really want lyrics to distract me all too much, which is completely different to the way that I used to listen to music. And for that reason, I've been drawn to like a lot of foreign language music, and also things like post-rock and lo-fi beats. I do also really get classical music, and if you're not into kind of like, you know, contemporary pop, then listening to classical music can be a great way to up your productivity. Also, if you don't know what post-rock is, check it out. It's stuff like Sigur Rós and Explosions in the Sky. It's like absolutely amazing. But anyway, that's been a bit of a different video today. I hope you really enjoyed it. We've still got other questions that I would like to cover in future episodes, but we kind of need to get more votes on them. So go and check out the community tab. If you are interested in my experience working on an iPad, as I mentioned earlier, I'm going to leave that video up here. I think it's probably one of my best ones so far, so definitely check it out, and I'll see you in a bit. Thanks so much for watching.